pretty clean now. So I should actually have a mask on. I am in the garage. I usually open the doors and air myself out. But definitely wear gloves when you're working with resin. It'll get all over your hands. The soundtrack, thanks to an old friend who really enjoyed listening to old bachata. Okay. So resin usually comes in two parts, and they have to be mixed very well and very patiently. Look at me not opening. So that it doesn't create any bubbles. That's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna mix it. Yeah, old friend. One of those friends with benefits. One of those situations. Don't ever do that. Don't get in no goddamn situation. Make your life impossible. They can't figure out the fuck they want. You figure it out for them, friend. They can't decide what they want. You have to decide for them. Otherwise, you'll be waiting forever. You know, going back and forth. But, yeah, hey friend. I wish you well wherever you are. Always thinking about you, but no, I don't have time to continue to waste. We have to do this for 5 minutes, so might as well tell you a story while we're doing it. You know, I've been thinking a lot about vlogging, because there are a lot of things in my life that other people might relate to, and they might benefit from, you know, hearing somebody else, you know, who went through it, talking about it, and how they got through it, if they did, and what happens after. So I think those are good things to talk about while I'm doing this art and creating these videos. I think we're all tired of watching stupid shit online. I think we're all over the 30-second videos and 90-second reels, and you know, we're all sick and tired of the pop-ups and promotions, and I think that overall, as a collective, we have reached a point where we are craving more connection, because we are not innately we're not created to function in isolation. It's dysfunctional. You know, it creates dysfunction in us to be always isolated. And I feel, I don't know if anyone else agrees, that the more technology we have and the more social media that we have, the more isolated we are, because the way that the algorithm works is it doesn't really show you the people that you actually want to talk to, the people that you actually want to hear from. It doesn't show you your friends and family. Back in the day, I remember when I first started using Facebook, all of my friends and family from DR would pop up on my feed. And now, if I want to find out what's going on with one of my family members or friends from back in the day, I have to go in there and actually search their name or search for them among my friends on Facebook. And the same thing happens on Instagram. The algorithm doesn't show you the people that you actually want to or need to see. It just shows you what the algorithm thinks that you should see, based on what they think you're going to purchase or what you're going to continue watching. So, as you can see, I'm over here. I don't expect to get too many views. I don't know. Watch if you want, but I'm definitely enjoying myself creating my art, and this is kind of like a journal for me, where I get my thoughts out. I get my thoughts out in two ways. Verbally, right? I'm clearing my throat chakra, and also through my art, which is helping me to clear my sacral chakra, which is where creativity abounds. And it's definitely where I have had the most blockages because of my history and life circumstances. So this is therapy for me. This is free therapy for me. Don't have to pay a dime. And it might be therapy for you, who knows? Yeah. So you have to make sure that you turn it in the same direction, is what I understand. It has to be turned going in the same direction at all times so that you create the least bubbles, if any at all. I do want to get a hand tool, but I kind of enjoy just sitting down and doing it manually. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, this music is soothing to me. It reminds me of back home. It reminds me of old friends. And it's just chill. All I need really is a blunt. But I don't know if I'm allowed to do this online, so I will wait. Lots of history. Mainly, one of the things that I have been processing a lot is a feeling of inadequacy, a feeling of not being deserving, of not being enough. So I've been listening to a lot of affirmations that, I have a lot of subconscious thoughts of not being enough, of not being good enough, of not being adequate. There's always something wrong with me, and I criticize myself a lot. Trust me, I criticize myself a lot more than anybody else would criticize me. By the time you come and try to bully me, honey, it's too late. I've already done the bullying myself, so it just goes over my head. So when somebody comes and says something nasty to me, and you see that I don't react, it's because I've heard it so many times, not only from other people, but from myself, so it's not me. But yeah, there's a history of abuse that I don't talk about a lot. Maybe a handful of people know about it. There's history of a lot of issues during childhood. And I know that it's kind of like the popular topic now. Everybody wants to diagnose themselves and talk about their terrible traumas with their families and how bad they have it, and it's a competition on, you know, how terrible life is. That's definitely not what I want to portray. But I do want to be transparent, you know. Because a lot of my videos show my professional side. This is my mold for my sphere. It's super cool. I love this. So I'm going to start the sphere first. I'm going to do a floating one. Kind of like, I'm going to do layers. Okay. So I'm going to pour some of the resin in. And then I'm going to have to let it get dry. And put crystals in it. I probably won't be able to put another layer in until tomorrow. This one is gonna take me a few days to complete because it's gonna cost a little more. It is gonna take a little bit longer to complete compared to like my usual stuff. But I can't wait to see the final product. So it's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna grab my basket of flowers. This is my basket. My daughter gave me this basket for my birthday. Obviously, some of these flowers are artificial, but it came in very handy to preserve. So look at this beauty. Look at this beauty. You see, what happens with flowers is when everybody else thinks that that they're no longer any good, that's when they're the most beautiful, I think. I do have some pressed flowers over here. So we're gonna see. Oh, this is so gorgeous. Look at this. Oh, look at this. So gorgeous. This is exactly how it's gonna go on the tray. I kid you not. This is exactly how it's gonna go on that tray. So perfect. So perfect. Yes, I do have to buy a flower press. But for now, the books are gonna do it. I think one of my next investments is gonna be a flower press though. Oh, this is gonna be so gorgeous, guys. These are unbelievably beautiful. Next time you see a woman in her middle age, golden age years, and you hear that she is feeling inadequate, not beautiful, not enough, just think about these flowers. Just think about these flowers. Like, they are so gorgeous. And this is something that somebody else would have probably thrown in the trash. And they're just so amazing. I think we're gonna add some of these. Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to do too much now. I'm not. I think this is just perfect. And we're going to be obedient. We're going to be obedient and we're going to add the crystals. Oh, this is going to be so amazing, y'all. This is gonna be so amazing. Like, so beautiful. Like, I don't want to hear it. Y'all can't tell me nothing. Look at this. Look at this. This is gonna be enclosed in resin, y'all. Like, you understand. You don't understand. This is gonna be gorgeous. Oh, this is so beautiful. Like, you can't even. Like, I don't want to hear no price gouging on this baby because this is beautiful. Ya te olvidé. Ya te olvidé. Ya te olvidé. So I'm gonna start pouring the resin on it now. I think I put too many crystals on it. I'm gonna take some of them off because it's starting to look a little too saturated. That's the word. Too much of anything can never be good. So we always want to balance things out. I think too much of anything is never good. You just balance it out, because then you have to figure out what is the pattern. I think it looked better when it was sparingly placed in there. And maybe I can, let's see what happens if I put it all at the bottom. Oh yeah. Fracaso. Ya te olvidé. Ya te olvidé. Okay, that'll work. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I'll show you guys what it looks like when I finish it, but this is gonna be amazing. This should be dry by tomorrow. The other one is gonna take a little while, but this one should be dry by tomorrow. Yeah. You know, when you hear someone in your childhood, or several people in your childhood, tell you that you're not good enough, it just becomes second nature to treat yourself the same way. And you just learn to accept that kind of language. It's not anything abnormal. You know, you just learn to accept that language. It becomes part of your daily living. So we have to mix some more. So it's finished. Gotta mix some more. Gotta mix some more. But it just becomes normal. And you know, as I grew up, I didn't grow up 100% with my mom. And this is not necessarily any fault of hers. You know, because of life circumstances, she had to leave me in DR while she came here to the United States to look for a better life for all of us, for me. But that doesn't deny the fact that, you know, there will never be anybody in the world that treats you like your mother. And there's always that emptiness when you don't have your parents in your life that you grow with. But anyway, yeah, several people in my life, and I would say even including my mom, verbalized that I was, I'll give you specific examples, ugly, crazy, not good enough, dirty, me faltaba plomo, like I didn't have any tact, I didn't have any organization skills, that I was always aloof, you know, que siempre estaba en el aire, that I was always thinking of something somewhere. And now that I listen to that list of issues, sounds very much like ADHD and autism and all that stuff that kids get diagnosed with. But those are all the things that I heard when I was growing up. Ugly, skinny, dirty, monkey, stupid, crazy, no, never gonna be good for anything good. You don't know how to do anything. You're never gonna amount to anything. You name it, I heard it. And so, my self-esteem, needless to say, was below ground level. And any attention crumbs that I received were cherished as good, right? Even if it was bad attention. So when I hit my adolescence years, my teenage years, and men started pay attention to me, the most minimal amount of attention for me was reassuring. You know, there was something good about me, and it was in the way that I looked, in my physical body, you know. Even when they were lying, because I'm gonna be honest with you, there was a point in my life where I weighed like 90 pounds. Don't ask. You know, this was before I got married. I don't get it. But you know, perverts will, they don't care. They don't care. And someone who is in your life to destroy, or sometimes as a lesson, it's really irrelevant. You know, the worse you look and the more down you are, the more ego boosting it is for them. So those little crumbs became reassuring. Disrespect even became reassuring. And if you want to talk about not respecting yourself in any way, that was me. I mean, I really didn't have any value for myself. Nobody told me that I was valuable, and I certainly didn't feel valuable. So, honestly, you know, anything was game. Mostly I would dissociate, you know, when things were happening. And when I say things, I'm talking about, you know, sexual encounters and whatnot. I would say 90% of the time I was not present in my body. And I would say that given my experience in the medical system and life, now I can say that that's a product of past history. Let's just put it that way. Possible past history. So you can get back to your monster to-do list. Really? Get a quote at resin. So I'm processing a lot of that most of my time. I process all of that. And so I ended up with someone who thrived on someone like me. Right. As I got smaller, they got bigger. And I repeatedly found that kind of person, you know, where when I get smaller, they get bigger. Mixing again. It's turning out beautiful though. It's turning out beautiful. You just gotta be patient. I might have to add another layer of resin tomorrow because it all depends on how I want it to look. If I want it to have a texture, you know, I might just add an extra layer. If not, this is perfect. All right, here we go, y'all. We're gonna pour. So basically you have to pour it very slowly. Again, you don't want to create any bubbles. So you have to take your time. This is gonna be so gorgeous, y'all. The bad thing is this table is kind of uneven, and whenever I pour the resin, I find myself trying to figure out where can I lay this so that it's even, you know. Alright, so what's gonna happen is when this one dries a little bit, I'm gonna put one of these roses in here. I can take, I think it's gonna be this one. This is gonna go inside of the sphere. I think it's gonna be beautiful with crystals. It's gonna be gorgeous. Gotta mix some more. This is gonna be my last mix for today because I got things to do, y'all. So yeah, 50-50 again, just like today's relationships. Such bullshit. Mix patiently. Whatever happened to just finding somebody you love and calling it a day? I gotta turn the music back on. Hold on. Because why does YouTube feel like they have to ask you if you're still watching? Nigga, if it's still playing, I'm still watching. You just gotta play. But yeah. You know, it happens to anybody. Anybody can end up in that kind of situation. You just have to have enough damage. You just have to have enough damage so that when you find yourself in that position, you feel right at home. It doesn't seem strange to you because this is an environment that you've been in before. It's not anything new, right? If it was something new, you would feel some type of way about it, but it's not anything new. So it's so easy to just feel right at home. And it can happen to people in all walks of life. It can happen to men as well. You know, there are men out there who are in situations where they are being sometimes physically, sometimes mentally or emotionally abused. They're being manipulated, you know, by someone who is unhealthy. But physical abuse can happen to men as well. It can happen to a nurse. It can happen to a teacher. It can happen to a lawyer. It can happen to a judge. It can happen to a doctor. It can happen to an artist. It can happen to a homeless person. It can happen to a teenage girl, a teenage boy. It can happen to a straight person, a gay person. I mean, anybody can find themselves in a position where they are damaged enough that an abusive environment or abusive person feels familiar. It's not anything out of pocket. Like some other people might see the situation or they might hear what's happening and, you know, like, oh my God. For you, it's normal. Or it's either it feels normal or you're just so numb, which I feel was probably my case at the time. You're just so numb. You're so out of it that you're like frozen. It's hard to describe, and maybe only a person who has been through it can understand what it feels like. Just kind of frozen in time. Everything just kind of happens to you for a long time. Like things just happen, you know, and everything is a fuzz, just a blur, you know, like really nasty situations that people would normally be gasping at. You just go through them and it's like a blur. It's almost like you go on auto mode, and they just happen. And then years later, you're just telling the story, and you know, sometimes I look back at some of the things and I'm just like, shit, I can't believe that happened, and I can't believe I went through that, or I can't believe I allowed myself to be treated like that. I can't believe I allowed this person to go that far. You go back, you look back and you're like amazed at all of the shit that happened. But when you're in the moment, you're not judging any of that. You're in 155% survival mode. That's what you're doing. You're just surviving. You're barely making it. And in order to do it, you really do have to check out. It's the only way to do it. Because when it's a constant thing, when it's an everyday thing, when it's a repetitive thing, eventually you just give up. You just give up and you give in and you just let it be. And I can say I myself got to the point where I was convinced that that's what I deserved. You know, that there was nothing better for me. I mean, I can't tell you anything other than that. I really thought that's what I deserved. I'm gonna try something over here. I don't know if it's gonna work, but nah, I don't know. I think that's too much. Maybe I can use this one. I don't know. I think this is great. Nah, I don't think so. Maybe if it was flat. I think the original design is just fine. I'm gonna pour. If you're 100% Dominican, you definitely like the background music. If you're not, you're like, what the heck is she listening to, bro? Good stuff, good stuff. Okay, so see how it's like overflowing on one side and the other side is fine. That pisses me off. Right there. Because what the heck am I going to do now? You over here overflowing on one side. It's because of the table. Let's see how I can fix it. Maybe I can do like, I can put this under there to balance it out a little bit. See, I'm gonna do this. Okay, now it's starting to flow to the other side. See, because then what it does is overnight it spills over onto the table. And that pisses me off too, because then it's a big mess. Okay, that's better. Except, so when it gets a little bit dry later on, I'm going to remove that paper from under it, because then it'll be crooked. So we're going to leave it like this. Funny. Que murmuren, que digan que no me quieres, que digan que no te quieres. All right, so that's that. We're gonna let that dry. We're gonna let that dry. and we're gonna come back tomorrow and see what it looks like. I think it's gonna be awesome. Well, if you're here still, thanks for watching, and I'll show you tomorrow what it looks like.